Here's an interesting schedule of healthy gum, a tooth, and the tooth consists of the root, the bone around the tooth, fibers, gum, a small space between the tooth and the gum, and then the enamel. And when teeth are, and the gums are healthy, they look nice pink. When they are inflamed, they look red. And the redness is caused by plaque, dental plaque. It's an accumulation of bacteria and especially lactic acid producing bacteria. And when such an inflammation continues, and people also get tartar with it's called tooth stone. It's stone on the tooth, then the inflammation gets worse. And finally people get bone loss, and then more tartar, and then sometimes even complete bone loss. So what is the cause of this inflammation? Most people say it's because people don't brush enough. Dentists say the same thing, oral hygienists say the same thing, and in a way they are right. But in another way, they're not right. Because too many bacteria in the mouth make it impossible to clean sufficient. In this book, it's called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston Price. He did research in 1930. He wrote a book in 1936. And there he showed in a diagram that the plaque can explode when there's a lack of minerals. It becomes 20 times higher when you have a lack of minerals. So in a way, these dentists and hygienists are correct. There are too many bacteria. They cause inflammation. They can cause bone loss. But what they probably don't know is that this amount of plaque is caused by a lack of calcium and magnesium. And it's interesting how this mechanism works. There was a research done by Ralph Steinman, who's a dentist, and John Leonora. He was a scientist. And what they discovered is that in the dentin, there are small tubules. And I show it in this book. So I take it a bit longer. There's a connection with the dentin, the pulp, and the brain. But also the parotid gland, which is this gland which produces saliva. So now take a look at the dentin. And the dentin consists of calcium, magnesium, collagen fibers. And there are holes in the dentin. These transport fluids. And in these fluids are materials to build the tooth or take materials from the tooth to the body. And that is regulated by the hypothalamus. It's a small organ in the brain that regulates the dentinal fluid transport. So when there's enough calcium, magnesium in the system, in the pulp, then there's a outward fluid transport from the root to the crown. So it goes through the dentin to the crown, and then the teeth stays strong. But when there's a lack of calcium, magnesium, this dentinal fluid transport goes in the other direction. It causes sensitive teeth, it causes decay, cavities, and, which is shown by Weston Price, it causes an expanding growth of bacteria that produce acid. So why would that be? Why would these bacteria grow? It's regulated by this gland. Normally they make proteins that lower the amount of plaque. But when there's a lack of calcium magnesium, they allow the bacteria to grow because they produce acid. This acid stays here, like here on these pictures, and that helps with the reverse dentinal fluid to demineralize the tooth. And then you have the calcium magnesium in the pulp, goes to the body, and then the mitochondria, who are the ones that need the calcium magnesium, are satisfied. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to have more updates on the remineralization, the mitochondria, the general health and the effect on the teeth, then push on the subscribe button. Thanks again.